Thank you, Mr. Chair. Secretary Flournoy, one of the statements that I want to clarify is the fact that the funding that we have been giving to the ANSF, which is a combination of both the Army plus the police force, and it's I think in your statement it said it's about 11.7 billion for 2011, and it's expected to be the highest amount that it will ever reach. Is that correct?
Yes, we expect future years' funding to gradually go down as we complete building infrastructure, equipping units, and so forth, and the major sort of capital investment, if you will, goes down.
Now, one of the issues in terms of building sustainability is, of course, to have an Afghan force. But I noticed that when we talk about sustainability, we're not really making a distinction at that point between the Army and the basically like the police force. So how is it that we're envisioning that they will begin to share that responsibility, if at all, and or in addition to that, who do we intend to give the support after 2014 to?
So I think that the different kinds of police and the Army are evolving to a pretty well-defined division of labor. But as as we're increasingly successful against the insurgency, the nature of the environment is going to change, and I expect those roles to evolve further. For example, you have police right now that are involved in counterinsurgency. Over time, I would expect them to have more normal sort of peacetime police roles in time. But in terms of financial sustainability, it is going to, the Afghans are making progress in terms of revenue generation, but it's very small, and they are nowhere near being able to support their security forces independently as yet. Over time, the ability of the government to generate resources will grow. Over time, the cost of these forces will come down. And we have challenged our allies in ISAF to ensure that they make a long-term pledge to help support the continued development and sustainment of the ANSF. So the U.S. will not be alone in footing this bill. The bill will go down. We hope that our allies will step up more as they transition some of their force commitments out, and we also expect the Afghan government will be able to pay for more and more. That said, we do envision a sustained security assistance contribution from the U.S. beyond 2014, but at a much lower level.
I guess I read somewhere that like 90% or 90-some-odd% of the Afghan economy is really related to the allied forces and, in other words, the sustainability of Afghanistan. So as you say that we are trying to, as we withdraw and our, quote, allies also withdraw, and that we hope that the economy picks up, assuming that it doesn't, in the worst case scenario as you sit here today, what do you think that amount will be come 2015 that the United States is going to have to cover?
We do not have a definitive number. We are still scrubbing that to bring it down, but we are working that, and I believe it will be much lower than the kind.
But how much lower? What's the range?
Again, I don't have anything that we can rely on. I think we are, we are aiming to get it to a much more sustainable rate that's commensurate with some of our other major security assistance programs elsewhere around the globe. But I would just say that, right now the Afghan economy is somewhat dependent on international aid and so forth, and that will continue for some time. But what we do see is growth in the agricultural sector, which is about 80% of the economy. Long term, they also have a vast mineral and energy wealth. As they extract that, as they develop industries to do that, that will be a very important source of income, as will customs, taxation, and other revenue-generating mechanisms.
Mr. Chairman, my time's expired, but I would like to ask that once the Secretary has scrubbed down her numbers as low as she can get them, if she would forward it to me. Thank you.
I think we'd all be interested in that. Thank you.